Well, welcome everybody. Happy New Year. It's now the 6th of January, and it'd be interesting to know how many of you really sat down and set some New Year's objectives. For 2025, it's a good time to do that. If you haven't, it's not too late. But just remember, there's two parts of it. There's this is what I want to achieve for the year. And then there's the this is how I'm going to get there. And you have fully sort of appraised what it will take. So be realistic with things. But in any event, welcome to this week's edition of Market Insights and lots of good stuff going on right now in the market. We'll be getting all that. Quick reminder that everything that we do here is for educational purposes only. That is not intended as investment advice. So what's a move in the markets? Well, they're trying to recover from last week's losses. So far, so good. Now, as of this recording, it is 12:30 Eastern. I'm not on Eastern time, but that's where we're at. And let's take a look. The Dow's up 286 points. S&P up 1.12%. NASDAQ up 1.66%. And the Russell up about 1%. So a great start to the week. NVIDIA looks close at an all-time high. In fact, I've got a bunch of NVIDIA on which I'm doing covered calls. I actually got called out when NVIDIA jumped up to 151. So what that meant was I had to go into my account, buy that NVIDIA stock back and do a new covered call, which is no big deal. Whole process takes a couple of minutes. The only time that's really an issue is if you've got existing stock with a low cost basis, you get called out and it triggers a tax consequence. But if you're buying stock for the purpose of doing covered calls and you get called out, it's just not that big of a deal. Trump is now considering narrowing his tariff plan. I think he's getting some pushback. People are telling him, listen, you're all about getting the economy supercharged, and that could slow things down by raising costs. And, there might be a better way. And he seems to be open to that. The market senses that. I think that's a big reason the market is up significantly today. 10-year Treasury keeps moving higher. I don't like that. That's not good for equities. So we've been kind of living below 4.6. We're at 4.636 now. The next real key level will be 4.7. And then after that, 5%. We get above 5%, that's going to be a problem for the market. You might see a bit of a pullback at that point. And oil prices creeping higher, $74.61 a barrel. So that's moved up steadily for the last couple of weeks. What to watch this week? Kind of a slow news week. Remember, Thursday, the markets are closed in honor of former President Jimmy Carter. Talk about a guy of character. I didn't love his politics. He was a bit liberal for me, and that's okay. But boy, do I respect the man. I mean, here's a guy in his 90s volunteering his time with Habitat for Humanity. He's out there moving around wood and pounding nails and teaching Sunday school. You want to talk about a guy who walks the talk? That was Jimmy Carter. And in a world where we deal with so many frauds and phonies in politics who say one thing and then contradict themselves, or they'll preach about this, but they're doing something else. This guy, forget about the politics, was just a solid dude. May he rest in peace. And if anybody is going to the right place after death, it's Jimmy Carter. You ever heard anybody say a single bad thing about him? You know, the other thing that's surprising, he had one of the highest IQs of any president in history. People didn't realize that about him. You know, they just sort of couched him as well, he's a peanut farmer. Yeah, he was also a scientist. He's a brilliant guy. I think his IQ is 140 something. So, but slow news week. Today, we've got the final services PMI and factory orders coming out. That's not going to move the market one way or the other. Um, Tomorrow, I don't see anything that's going to move the market. Wednesday is a big day. ADP employment number. So how many jobs are we adding to the economy? That'll be interesting. They're forecasting 130,000. Previous month was 146. So kind of a downturn in that. Thursday, as always, we get our initial jobless claims. Did you see last week? They were down to 211,000. That was the lowest level it's been in years. Friday, consumer sentiment. That's always indicative of just how people are perceiving the world around them. Then we get the U.S. employment report. The unemployment rate supposed to stay at 4.2%. Hourly wages supposed to go up 0.3% for the month, and for the year, 4%. So Wednesday, I think, is going to be an important day. Thursday, semi-important, and Friday will be important as well. Last week's heat map, look at NVIDIA, up 10%. I always get tickled, when you have a stock like an NVIDIA and it pulls back a little bit, and then the people start coming out of the woodwork. I told you it was overvalued, blah. Where are those people now? Nowhere to be heard from. Here's what I do. When I see a company pull back, I look to see if there's any news that could be systemic in nature. And then I just ask myself kind of a simple question. Has anything changed with this business, in the last 3 to 6 months? And if the answer is no, I look at pullbacks as an opportunity to add to positions. Here's a 1-year heat map. Man, there's been a lot of money made in the last year. NVIDIA up 215%, Oracle 62, Broadcom 128, Alphabet 44, Meta 76, Tesla 75. Most of Tesla's been recent. Amazon 57, Walmart 74, Costco 41. Just, with the exception of healthcare and energy, basic materials hasn't done great. But I mean, it's been cha-ching, cha-ching, cha-ching. And if you're not crushing it in this market, there's something wrong with your approach. We can probably help you with that. Market sentiment, surprisingly low. So you see that the historical average for independent investors feeling bullish is 37.5%. We're below that at 35.4. I don't get it. The only thing that I see that is concerning, and it is concerning, that's future of interest rates. We're not going to get the help from the Fed that we thought, nor should we. The economy is too good. So as of now, there is a 90% probability no rate cut in January. There's a 54% probability no rate cut in March. There's a 45% probability no rate cut in April. So kind of 50-50 through the summertime. And now we're only forecasted one rate cut in the next year. This is dynamic. And, of course, the data will dictate, but that's where we're at. 1-year sector returns. So the last 12 months, the S&P is up about 28%. The outperformers have been technology at 40, almost 47, communication 44, discretionary, 36, and everything else, well, financials at 29. Then we get a big drop off. Industrials, utilities haven't done bad. Staples at 11%. That means it's underperformed by 16%. And then energy, real estate, healthcare, and materials are basically giving us nothing for the last year. Let's take a look at the charts. So if you remember last week, I talked about, breaching that 50-day moving average. And I told you, unless it stays below that for a week, don't get real concerned about it. And you can see, just like the last time, it has popped back up above. So that's a good sign. And we're not, remarkably far away from our all-time high. How the Q's looking? Great. So they never drop below. Look at how that 50-day held as a level of support here, 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 and again here. So charts tell us market is overall bullish. So there you go. And our track record for last year is pretty damn good. This was as of the end of November. Closed 103 trades, average return 17.8% in 16.6 days. Win percentage 93.3%, utilizing our option strategies. So that's worked out just great. All right, as always, good being with you. I will have another market insight for you next week. So again, to repeat, Happy New Year. I hope this is going to be just a terrific year for you. Having said that, let me also say this. The year doesn't get better unless you get better. So work on you. Don't wish for circumstances to change. Wish that you become somebody that can handle whatever the circumstances are. As your knowledge grows, your earning potential grows. Those two things, they just go hand in hand. All right, gang, I'll see you next week. Be safe, be blessed, and bye for now.